Well, hello everybody. It's time for a new banner review. I've been a bit silent lately, but I should have done this video much earlier, but let's just say that I was like, oh well, it's going to be down until 3 a.m. Might as well just sleep. And now it's fucking 6 a.m. and I'm working on this, and it's basically done. At least the pictures themselves. So let's actually move to the banner units themselves, because I got mostly good things to say. There's only one that I really have, Julius, a lot to say that are not really positive. So let's start with Eris. I'm going to go in order with their banner review, with their banner reveal outside of Julius, which is going to be the last four. Okay, so Eris. I was expecting him to be either slower or faster, to be honest, but because I was like, okay, my thinking was like Draconic Aura, that does 15 damage unless he's like lower on HP. If he hits Brazen Attack Death, he hits 59 attack. That's 17 attack, 17 damage. Sorry, that's cool. But Bonfire would be like, if he has a good amount of death, Bonfire has 16 right now, which is more than his attack. And if he's buffed with Brazen Death, Attack Death, well, that goes up to 20, so I don't get why you give him Draconic Aura when Bonfire does more damage at base. Anyway, so he's a pretty interesting unit. Dark Mistletoe is absolutely insane. It's ludicrous, really. And his speed, which is middling, to be honest, can actually really work out, especially with a Brazen, because of a nice little skill called Brash Assault. Brash Assault Desperation is really good on him and his father. I'm gonna explain this a bit later, but it's a really good weapon. Essentially, is what I'm getting to. It lets him really go ham with really high special, which Draconic Aura is not one of such. But, let's say, okay, let's say you get Speed Plus. That's 33 speed. Let's say he's buffed by Home Cavalry. That's 39. Let's say Speed Plus 3 Seal. That's 42. But, no, actually, you don't want to have Speed Plus 3 Seal, you want to have Heavy Blade. So, that's 39 speed. And then you could have like Drive Res, changes A for Fury, that's 42. Otherwise, you could also have Brazen Attack Speed, which is 46 speed. And then with Heavy Blade, you can basically proc A for every fight past the first one. Yeah. If you're at 80% or lower, obviously. But if you don't get Speed Plus, have no fear, there's also an alternative here. You can actually run Ignis, which becomes 1 cooldown after the first go. Brash Assault Desperation makes you go and hit first, and then the second time you proc Ignis, every single time. And Ignis with this guy is insane, especially with Brazen Attack Death. You end up with something like 46 death, you get a mileage that is absolutely ridiculous. You get freaking 36 damage off of Ignis every fucking fight. It's actually insane how much damage this guy can pull out of his ass. So, let's compare him to his father, because that's really the only character that's kind of similar to him stat-wise. The other one is Xander, but let's be honest here. If we're talking about Xander, Eldigan is just better in every way. Oh, what's this? You want to run Fury with built-in DC? Well, he has built-in Fury, you can run DC. There you go, it's better. Because you have access to Merge, you have access to buffs, and the only thing that Xander really has is 3 more death at the cost of 3 HP, which is hardly worth something. So, compared to his father can run maybe Panic Ploy a bit easier, has access to a bit more versatile of a weapon. Well, I'm counting Dark Mistletoe as his weapon because he's definitely getting it later on. His speed is more middling, but it's put more into his death, but his attack is the main thing here. you will want to run Brash Ignis on Eldigan. Eris at least has a bit more versatility on that regard, because he can go with speed, he can go with bulk. It's really up to you. I know Brazens are not easy to come by, so Brazen attack speed is a bit just, it can be used. But even there, Fury can still hit 42 speed with speed plus, so that's pretty good. And he has a really good attack stat either way, so Brazen with Brash Assault Desperation is really, really good. Now, time for the... I don't want to see the best art of the game, but it's a strong contender for it. Lean. Or Linne, whatever you want to say. Also, I should have said that before saying Eris, but a lot of people are going to be like, it's Ares! Sorry, I'm French, and the way we pronounce it in French is Ares. The E is just a different sound, so I prefer saying Eris. It just sounds way more natural to me, and just overall better, let's be real. So, let's talk about Linne herself. She's a dancer, she's red, she's our first red dancer since launch, for fuck's sake. Her weapon is amazing. I do not know if you can refine it at all. There's just no info of it on the wiki yet. But I'm expecting that it is. And if it is, well, let's just say Lean is actually insane. However, she has competition and it's in the exact color she's in, so... yeah, her kit is a bit unimpressive outside of Safeguard, but Sword Valor is a really good skill. Sword Valor is a really, really good skill. And I don't expect her to drop purely because of Valor. Like, most of the Valor skills are hidden behind Seasonal. But then again, this is the third unit with Sword Valor, so it might be the case. If she drops, boy, oh boy, that would be really good. But I don't expect anyone to drop on this banner, to be honest, purely because Sword Valor is on the one unit that could drop. So, I was talking about the competition she has. It's Olivia. No shit there. She has 2 more speed, but 4 less def. She also has 2 more res, but 1 less HP. Same attack. They're very similar. The main problem is, as I said with Shigure, availability. Olivia is way more available. Getting her to 5-star plus 10 is way easier. And also, unless you get def plus, you're actually losing in terms of score. Linne has 149 BST, Olivia has 150 BST. Olivia has more BST than Linne. Shocker, I know. And if you have HP plus on Olivia, which I don't recommend, you have actually one more BST. You have more BST than Linne regardless of what happens. Frankly though, what really makes Olivia so good is her bulk. Her def and res spread is insane, and she would be one of the best users of Safeguard, purely because you give her Safeguard. Let's say your Olivia has Fury and she's plus 10, so she has 34 def, 33 res. Safeguard makes that 41 def, and if you refine that into res, that's 41 def, 37 res on enemy phase. This is a dancer we're talking about with the bulk of essentially Sheena. It's freaking ridiculous. Honestly, before that, Ruby Sword used to be Olivia's best, but honestly, if Lean's weapon is refinable, I'm sorry. It's just so much better that way. Like, you're able to deal with so much more matchup. So Olivia's a bit better, but hardly more. And while I just said that, and people might be like, so Linne is worse. No, she's not. Most dancers have a worse stat spread than she does, from the get-go. I'm thinking about Azura, I'm thinking about Azura, I'm thinking about Azura, I'm thinking about Inigo, I'm thinking about Shigure. All of those have really, like, stat spread compared to her. Purely because, well, okay, 23-28 is not bad. It's already better than Azura by 3 def, which isn't much. But the thing that really makes this much better, and I think it's 2 def if you compare her to the Lance version. I could be wrong. But the thing that makes her so much better is Safeguard. Safeguard is only available to red dancers. So you don't have a def buff on any blue or green dancers. Already there, you're struggling. And while you could run Percoup Lance on Azura, it's frankly not worth it. You're only going to deal with, like, Tiki and Tiki. Yay. It's kind of irrelevant, really. Not that it's awful, it just doesn't really work for those characters. And since it covers up her def, which is to 30-28, she actually has good bulk overall. And she's also the best color for any dancer, if I'm being extremely honest here. The reason why I say this is blue is the most fucked color when it comes down to dancers. There are plenty of red that have so much offense that kill Azura through Triangle Adept. No fucks given. And when it comes down to green, the greens are a bit better off, but considering the abundance of blue Lance armored unit with Bolt Fighter and Quick Riposte, she can really struggle. Like most of the dancers can struggle. Inigo is a bit exempt of this because it can still have this Brave Lane counter, even though it's getting less and less useful as time goes on because the ceiling keeps rising and Brave Lane doesn't. But red, on the other hand, can, especially since the 2 reds are actually bulky, they can deal with green armored unit. And like, in a decent manner. Now, Bolt Fighter, Quick Riposte can still be a problem. But with stuff like Triangle Adept and Safeguard, especially if you get Def Plus on Lene, and that's something I should have said, Lene gets a super boon in Def. 27-28 is really freaking solid. So, with Safeguard, that's 34-28. If you can refine it to res, that's 34-32. Yeah, that's pretty insane. And on top of that, if they're initiating on the green units, unless they have Quick and Pulse Bonfire with Steady Breath, I'm looking at you, Grima, they're kind of screwed. And that can kind of hold true to some of the green dancers, but it's to a lesser extent because some of them tends to be extremely bulky. I'm looking at you, Arden. And unless you run TA on top of Fury, you can actually struggle. But the main thing that matters here is the fact that Wary Fighter is on Effie a lot, and Effie is extremely common. Yes, Wary Fighter is also on Ector, the newer one. But all of the time they tend to have either Wrath or Bolt Fighter, so you're fine on those parts. Effie tends to have Wary Fighter a lot because Bolt Fighter is just not really available. So with Wary Fighter, you're completely stopped, and she's like the blue armored unit you'll find all the time. If your green can deal with the blue all the time, you're struggling. I think that's self-explanatory, really. TA with Safeguard just deals so well with stuff like Ector, no problem. Even with just Fury, I think they could be fine. So, yeah, red is just the best color for dancers. And, oh yeah, colorless. I don't think I have to explain, like... I love P.A. Olivia's design, she looks adorable, and I love Chico's art, but... Sorry, my girl, you're not good. Purely because you don't have a color advantage. Like, I said before how Lynn's color was actually making her struggle, but that's because archers, you really work them out so they do as much damage as you can. Whereas dancers, you want them to be as bulky as you can so they can actually live as long as they can, so they can dance and occasionally fight. At least that's how I feel. And Olivia just doesn't have that bulk. She has res, but she has no def, and dragons exist. Dragons don't care about their res. And mages just fuck her up, so yeah. Like Blade Tome. Dual range can fuck that up a bit, but it's... in the end, the fact that she has so little HP can still get her fucked. Anyway, let's talk about someone else already, because we're already past 15 minutes and I have to go for work soon. So, Ishtar. I don't understand why they gave her Moonbow, but let's talk about, well, odd attack wave. A lot of people seem to think this is the second coming of Christ or something. I don't see it. It's useful and all, but the main problem is it comes on odd numbered turn. Turn 1 you will never be fighting your enemy, and if you are, well, you are fucking yourself over more often than not. That's pretty much a fact, honestly. And the problem here is, so the only time you get to really go at it is turn 2 and then onward. Turn 2 you have no buff, so you have to back off. If you're dealing with Horse unit, you can get just fucked over, because you're going to get overflown with unit. Overwhelmed is the word I was actually going for there. So, yeah, it's a bit problematic. Mjolnir is fantastic. Plus 6 speed when initiating is really, really good. By the way, I'm not saying like, oh, the attack wave is garbage. No, it's not. It's just that if you want it to be good, we're going to have to wait until we get even attack wave as well, so we can have a buff at all time. The problem with this, though, is unless we have some of the versions of the odd and even waves as seal, we can't actually cover every stats, and tactics are just so much better at that point. So, yeah, it's kind of hard to just be like, oh yeah, it's good, I swear it's good. Especially since we'll most likely get the tactic as seal soon. So, let's move on to Mjolnir. As I said, this is a really good weapon and actually lets her carve herself a niche, which is pretty nice because, frankly, with those stats, I was like, she's just short of being like Linde level, but not quite. Speaking of Linde, let's talk about the comparison. Blah. I suck at that word. Anyway, so this one's a bit smaller, sorry. I don't know how to integrate 3 characters and make it like bigger, but well. So let's talk about it. Lind is a bit better when it comes down to attack, but BST wise, Ishtar is better. Ishtar will score better and also has a better def and HP. The reason why this matters is mainly armored unit and dragons. The fact that you have more HP and more def means it's easier to hit Desperation. With Fury you have a bulk of melee of essentially 58. It's not amazing, but it's enough to take a hit, and if you can take a hit, you can hit Desperation range. Desperation range is where Ishtar shines the most. Now, obviously all 3 of those characters can be used with Blade Tome, less so for loot than the other 2, but most of them can use Blade Tome pretty well. Lind is better at that. So, does Ishtar have a niche? Yes, she does. Mjolnir is actually really good, and the fact that you don't really need speed because of Mjolnir, because with Mjolnir and Swift Sparrow you hit 46 speed on player phase. At that point, do you really need more speed? I don't think so. So, you can actually run Heavy Blade, and Attack Plus is her best nature as a result. Mjolnir, Attack Plus, On top of Swift Sparrow and Odd Wave, hits 61 attack. Very good to use Heavy Blade with. And because of Mjolnir, her cooldown goes down to 2, meaning her first hit gets the spec ready, the second gets it off, for skills such as Iceberg, such as Draconic Aura, and you'll most likely run Draconic Aura, and Bonfire, but again, you will most likely run Draconic Aura. So you can actually hit 6146. And if someone buffs your speed, you have 61 attack and 50 speed. You're not even speed plus here. It's really freaking good. Now, Blade Tome will have more destructive capability, obviously. But this kit is actually pretty comparable. Also, if you have your spec ready, it's easier to get your spec ready. Because Blade Tome increase your cooldown. So, yeah. The reason I put Loot here is because Loot has a speed plus 3 and speed ploy built in her tome. So she has an effective 40 speed. The thing here is Ishtar has 42 effective speed. Loot is a bit better if you want to use her as an enemy phase res tank, kinda. But as a player phase unit, she's worse. Ishtar has about the same attack and more speed in every scenario, especially since Speed Ploy can miss because the unit won't move always the very exact way you want them to. Even if you're like really good at predicting AI, I'm actually kind of decent at that, and even then it's shaky. So yeah, if anything, I would say her best Bane, if you were talking about Ishtar, is Res Minus. Res tanks are not fantastic. And frankly, long-range Res units, which... Look, it's the same problem as Braveland that I keep bringing up every banner because there's always one unit with those fucking stat spread of 1828 or around it. But, like I said, if you go Res Minus, that's 1723, which is still pretty solid. And you can go with Attack Plus. Attack Plus Res Minus is easily our best boon, or best IVs. Def Minus will ruin a bit her score range because it's a Super Bane. But on top of it, it makes her surviving dragons harder, and it makes her surviving armored unit harder. Don't do that. It's a bad idea, if I'm being completely honest. Fury might be a bit easier to proc Desperation, but Swift Sparrow is such a good option. I'm really surprised by the amount of unit with Swift Sparrow nowadays. It feels like we're getting one every banner. Anyway, let's talk about the rotten bread of the bunch. Not Ishtar, Julius. This is basically the best I could do for a graphism. Well, I can speak. So, Julius, loved her. What happened? For people who don't understand how Lupter, and that's how I'm going to call it, not Luptus because that sounds like other ass. Lupter is a tome that Julius was using in FE4. This is basically what Luptus is the localization of. Lupter, unlike the, oh, I get busted out of my ass by basically everything, was a really, really broken tome. Essentially, it was not a damage reduction, but an attack reduction of 50%. What I mean by this is, say, someone with 50 attack would attack him. By the way, he had 25 def, 30 res. Someone with 50 attack would attack Julius. 50 attack becomes 25, he does 0 to Julius. Do you understand how ridiculous this is? Oh, did I also mention he had 55 might himself? Because Lupter was a 30 might tome. 80 attack attacking Julius would basically be turned into 15 damage. He had 80 health. Literally, you're like, if you let Julia die, you literally had no way to beat him. Or you had a way, but it was extremely hard because he's in a fucking castle healing every fucking turn on top of it all. Selif with capped attack and, you know, good old turfing, which is the revive by the way, is only able to do 2 damage to the fucking guy. 2 damage! Main character! Hello? Like, I'm not expecting that to be the fucking effect. That would be ridiculous. By the way, if you're curious why I said Julia before, Julia completely negates Luptir's all damage effect. So that's why the whole effective against dragon is a thing again on this tome. But the thing is, attack -6 is not worth being weak to fucking falchions. What the fuck is this? Ugh. This is just stupid. I don't understand it. Like, okay, want to see a good example of what I would do personally if I would be IS? Okay. Remove 9 res, put it into def. 25 def, 26 res. Okay, that's a bit better. Change the effect to Grand Res plus 3, so he has essentially almost his stat spread from FE4 when it comes down to bulk. And skill with effective against dragon or effective against unit, I'm fine with that because it makes sense with the lore. If foe has no skill against effective, if foe has no skill with effective against dragon, inflict 30% damage reduction on every hit during combat. It's not too much, but it's not too little. Attack -6 is doing fucking nothing, especially with this fucking stat spread. It's like, look, I'm relegated to killing Ninos. Ain't that great? This fucker needs Green Tone Breaker to fucking kill Deirdre or Julia. Let that sink in. He's struggling against greens. Oh, this sucks. I was really expecting this, to be honest. I was like, oh fuck, Julius is a GHB. They're going to be like, oh look, Luptir is one of the strongest weapon in all of fucking Fire Emblem. Let's fucking ruin it. They did. It almost feels like every batch of new units, they have to put a shitty unit of a character I want to see being good. Oh. This really frustrates me to no end, to be honest. It's pretty infuriating. Now, comparison's sake, that's going to be really quick. Lilina is a better nuke. Straight up. There's just nothing that he brings to the table that's really helping him compared to Lilina. Now, he has a bit more res, but like I said, res tanks are not good in this meta. There's really nothing that he can really deal with. Honestly, if I'm being honest, the fact that he looks so much like an armored unit in FE4, I would have just made him a red armored unit, especially with his stat spread from FE4. He feels like an armored unit. I would have just been like, okay, look, armored unit, there we go. Had plus 10 BST, it's all going to go into def. Here you go. At least you have something. And yeah, like, Tarja would still be better, to some extent. But, like, this would be so much better than this. Right now, Lilina is a better offense user. Her speed is worse, but honestly, their speed is completely irrelevant. And even then, you could just go speed plus and completely outclass him in attack, speed, and def on top of it. Like, it's so dumb. The one thing he has going for him is, like I said, he's a better res tank. That's it. he really doesn't have anything other than this. Sanaki is even worse of a comparison. Comparison? I fucking suck with that word. Anyway, Sanaki is so much better overall. Like, purely because of her tome. With a flyer nearby, oh boy, she has 39 res. To give you an idea, that basically means that this guy right here, Julius, has 2 more res effectively due to his weapon than Sanaki. The difference here is Dragon Killers don't do 50% extra attack on Sanaki. Fucking Crom will end up with like 1,000,000 attack to buddy his ass. Sanaki also has 7 more attack due to attack res bond. Attack res flyer 2 square bond. I don't know how to call that. And honestly, if you want to go speed plus on Sanaki, it's not even a bad idea. 30 speed is not bad. And you can actually run speed ploy. It's actually easy to get because Sias is a pretty underwhelming unit that was available last month. So you can run Speed Ploy on her. You can run Fury, Speed Plus, that's 33 speed. And then on top of it, like stuff like Speed Tactic or Drive Speed, which Drive Speed are extremely available. You end up with stuff like 44 speed on the Sanaki. Yeah, you can get to 41 with Julius, but at this point, the difference between 41 and 44 is 41 you stop doubles, 44 you actually double. So, and on top of it, it's just not worth it. The difference is Sanaki can also be plus 10. Julius can only be plus 2. At least until he gets a revival, sorry, which is unlikely to be anytime soon. So, yeah, that sucks. Honestly, though, I feel like every banner that I really like the game of is going to have someone I'm just going to be so disappointed in. Honestly, if anything, like I'm going to speak about the FE4 banner in general. Like, FE4 is honestly my baby when it comes down to Fire Emblem. It's easily the game of the franchise I like the most. And I was really hoping for Ishtar to come, and also Eris, actually. I really wanted Eris and Ishtar. Those were the 2 I really fucking wanted. They both are here, and they're both on the banner. I was really fearing Ishtar to be a GHB unit and to be completely ruined, the same way as Julius here did. That didn't happen. Thank fuck. Oh yeah, by the way, I just want to point out, Julius is actually fast in FE4. Yeah. Apparently, it's funny because someone on my Discord was like, oh yeah, well, I mean, Arvis's lack of defense runs in the family, and it's like, Arvis has 40 def and 40 res in Gen 2. His kid has 25 def and 30 res in Gen 2. Julius, that is. I don't know about Sias. I honestly don't really care about Sias. He's kind of from FE5, and which, like, I like FE5 because I like FE4. It's in the same world, and it adds to some of the characters such as Finn, Leaf, and such. Leaf kind of adds to Quan's character as well. And that's why I like FE5. But outside of this, I generally prefer FE4 a lot more to FE5. The reason why I was so mad with Finn is because I really like Finn. The reason why I was mad with Nana is because I really like the Sheesis. Like, you get the idea. Like, it just hurts me. It just really hurts me. Either way, though, I'm pretty freaking glad that that at least Ishtar and Eris are really good. And Lene, or Lene rather, was a really nice surprise. I was not expecting a good, like a good third one. Like I was like, oh good, Ishtar is in there. I see the first one being Eris, I fucking shriek. And then the second one, I'm like, who? Wait, oh, Lene! It's like, it's pretty nice. And I'm glad to see, especially, and that's something I should have said earlier, our artist is back. This is not the first time this artist has drawn in Fire Emblem Heroes. The other one he drew was Bright Sita. Hell yeah. Like, I love Bright Sita's art. It's one of my favorite art of the game. And to see this artist coming back to do Lene is fantastic. I was actually comparing picture of Lene back then to now, and it's like, huh, okay. What a fucking change. Anyway, now, since we're at 35 minutes, I guess I should just go on with it. Eris is a really good unit. Lene is still really good, but she's going to maybe drop to 4 stars, so keep that in mind if you want to 5-star plus 10er. Ishtar is also excellent. I don't expect Ishtar or Eris to ever drop. They're absolutely ludicrous. I expect Eldigan to also become way better because of Eris as well. And that's about it. So as usual, Discord link is going to be in the description. As well as probably my Twitch. And yeah, that's it. I'm going to be seeing you guys later. Most likely in the comments or on my Discord. See ya!